Harlem Shadows, the poems of Claude McKay. A number of these poems appeared in the Seven Arts, Pearson's, The Liberator, The Messenger, and the Cambridge Magazine, England. Author's word. In putting ideas and feelings into poetry, I have tried in each case to use the medium most adaptable to the specific purpose. I own allegiance to no master. I have never found it possible to accept in entirety any one poet. But I have loved and joyed in what I consider the finest in the poets of all ages. The speech of my childhood and early youth was the Jamaica Negro dialect, the native variant of English, which still preserves a few words of African origin, and which is more difficult of understanding than the American Negro dialect. But the language we wrote and read in school was England's English. Our textbooks then, before the advent of the American and Jamaican readers and our teachers too, were all English-made. The native teachers of the elementary schools were tutored by men and women of British import. I quite remember making up verses in the dialect and in English for our moonlight ring dances and for our school parties. Of our purely native songs, the Jamas, Field and Road, Shay-Shays, Yard and Booth, Wakes, Post-Mortem, Anansi Tales, transplanted African folklore, and revivals, religious, are all singularly punctuated by meter and rhyme, and nearly all my own poetic thought has always run naturally into these regular forms. Consequently, although very conscious of the new criticisms and trends in poetry, to which I am keenly responsive and receptive, I have adhered to such of the older traditions as I find adequate for my most lawless and revolutionary passions and moods. I have not used patterns, images, and words that would stamp me as a classicist nor a modernist. My intellect is not scientific enough to range me on the side of either, nor is my knowledge wide enough for me to specialize in any school. I have never studied poetics, but the forms I have used I am convinced are the ones I can work in with the highest degree of spontaneity and freedom. I have chosen my melodies and rhythms by instinct, and I have favored words and figures which flow smoothly and harmoniously into my compositions. And in all my moods I have striven to achieve directness, truthfulness, and naturalness of expression, instead of an enameled originality. I have not hesitated to use words which are old, and in some circles considered poetically overworked and dead, when I thought I could make them glow alive by new manipulation. Nor have I stinted my senses of the pleasure of using the decorative metaphor, where it is more truly and vividly beautiful than the exact phrase. But for me there is more quiet delight in the golden moon of heaven than in the terracotta disk of cloudland. Finally, while I have welcomed criticism, friendly and unfriendly, and listened with willing attention to many varying opinions concerning other poems and my own, I have always, in the summing up, fallen back on my own ear and taste as the arbiter. Claude McKay.